Hello. All right. Welcome to the first ever episode of Three Beats Later.
Three Beats Later.
Later. All right. So this is a video broadcast, a stream. This show is for producers, for beat makers, for songwriters, anyone who's interested in producing music, people who are aspiring to produce music, aspiring to make beats. It's basically a chance to get together once a week, and what we'll do is we will make music together. So basically what we do is we choose a topic or a theme of music every week, and we challenge each other to make a specific beat, and then we share it with each other, and we essentially talk about it, and a little bit of crap talk is going on, and we critique each other, and then we choose the topic for the next week, and we challenge each other again. But it's also a chance for you, the listener and the watcher, to basically join in. Every week that we do a challenge, you can actually create music yourself, and you can submit it. You can contact us right here. Wait, wrong hand. Right. Yeah, there it is. Okay, you can contact us. All it is the number 3BL at the number 3beatslater.com. Then if you want to hit us up on social, you can do that right here. It's 3 Beats Later on Twitter and Instagram. I think we should have a Facebook account pretty soon too, so you can check us out there. So yeah, just to give you some insight, we've been doing this for a couple of weeks now. Basically, you're going to learn about the hosts in just a second. But we thought, hey, why not just broadcast this to the world and get more of the community involved? Last week, we had one of our friends join us. That's why you see the shout outs right there. Bing, right there. James Brandon Lewis came through. We sampled some of his music and made some music out of a great jazz musician. You should check him out online. That's his handle on Instagram. And then what you see on my other side, right, bing, right there, is the list of challenges. These are the things that we're going to try to go through every week. We'll choose one new one by a random number generator, and then that is the challenge for the week. So that's where you get to join in, and you get to make a beat with us. We will showcase beats from listeners. We will actually also invite listeners to the show, and we could have like a four-way beat battle, if you will. So first thing we want to do is kind of just give you a breakdown of all the hosts. So I want you to meet everybody, and I'm going to kick it over to E. He's going to give a quick bio. E, tell us about yourself.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Emory Education. I am a producer / bunch of other things. I've been making music for a long time, but I stepped away from it for a while, but I'm back. And so this is the time you get to see me in my freshest element right here. I know these guys both from doing music for ages and ages, so lifelong, relationships right here. So I'm ready to kick some ass in a fun way.
All right. I'm gonna kick it over to Piso. Piso is our other host. Piso, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What up, world? My name is Piso, the Earth Tone King, rapper / producer / writer. Here with a couple of buddies because we want to share some beats and share some of my talents. I've been making beats and rhyming for about 10 years now, and I can't wait to kick these other guys' asses as well. A lot of ass kicking going around today.
I didn't know it was going to be so competitive. All right, but here we go. I'm up for the challenge. So what's up, everybody? I'm Corey. I think I got into beat making probably around 2001, 2002, and then I kind of stepped away from that and did a lot of songwriting for quite some time. So playing music, I'm traditionally a guitar player, and just like E, I've slowly been getting back into beat making and songwriting in this vein, probably the end of last year. So kind of stepping back in, bringing some of this songwriting knowledge in and trying to beat that ass. Okay, here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and talk about the challenge. So last week what we did was we challenged each other. And the type of music was psychedelic Cambodian music, right? We kind of said psychedelic Southeast Asian music. So I'm not a historian. If you go online, you could basically look into this type of music and learn a little bit more. But essentially, Cambodia went through a phase, 1960s through the late 1970s, where they wrote they were heavily influenced by, the music that was going on throughout the world, rock music, American rock music, British rock music. And they basically had a little sliver of time where they were making what you would call psychedelic music, right? When you listen to it, there is some soul in there. There's some rock in there. It's really interesting. Some of these artists, you can hear kind of a lot of influence from all of the Brit rock artists out there, and they even did a lot of covers, which is pretty interesting. And then Cambodia went through a pretty rough period in the mid 1970s, essentially kind of like a civil war genocide, and a lot of that music was wiped out. So in the last 20 years, I would say, is where it's been kind of seeing a renaissance, where people were digging up all these old records and then putting it out there for the world to enjoy. So I would say that if you look it up online, you'd see a lot of articles written about what it was, how long it lasted, what happened with the music, who the stars were. So we thought, let's take some of this music, let's sample some of this music, and let's use it for this week's challenge. And that's what we are doing. So each one of the hosts is going to provide their beat. You'll hear first beat from myself, you'll hear the second beat from E, and then you'll hear the third beat from Piso. So you get 3 beats today, 3 beats later. We're going to basically talk about what the challenge is for the next week. All right. So I'm not scared. Here we go. Corey's going first.
I ain't never scared.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to show you how I made this beat. So this is the beat challenge, episode 1, week 1, psychedelic Cambodian music. What I wanted to do was take some of the psychedelic Cambodian music and turn it into a full track. So today what I'm using is an iPad, and I'm using an app called Beatmaker 3. If you don't know about this app, it's amazing. You can do a lot. There's a lot of hidden things in here. And I'm going to show you first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the song completely through, and then I'm going to walk you through the steps on really what happened, what some of the inspiration was. So without further ado, here is the full track. It's probably about a 2-minute beat, but we're going to let it play. All right. Okay. So that's the beat. And there's only one track being sampled on this beat. And I got it from an album called Cambodian Soul Sounds Volume 1. So if you want to learn more about this era in Cambodian music that was all about psychedelic rock and you name it, go check out that album, Cambodian Soul Sounds Volume 1. And the first track on that album, it is titled, forgive me, I cannot speak Cambodian. It is called Panehe Semnien. I don't know. And the artist is listed as Korn Panau. So if you look at the track, I don't know if you can see my screen. We'll send this, we'll actually post this out on our social accounts so you could see it, what the track is. And right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna play that sample that you heard. So I chopped up the sample, and if you listen to the track, it begins with kind of a female voice almost talking to the band, and she's saying something to the band, and then the music starts, right? So when you hear the track, okay, the beat, the actual music comes in, and when you listen to the song, it's actually a cover of the Beatles song "It's a Hard Day's Night." So they're singing they're doing a cover song basically. So my sample was just that intro part, the voice, and that first hit of the band, the those are the two samples that I used, and I just chopped them up a little bit and made that vocal line that you heard. So when you hear her say that, that's actually what it's doing. It was happening is I'm tuning this down, and it's being tuned down essentially 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. Okay, so when you listen to the track, I'm just gonna solo that section right here. That's the main thing that makes up the beat. And there's some so what I'm doing is I'm just placing those different chops on the pads and getting some inspiration with a rhythm of how she's singing it. So I put some things pitched down, and then I was just trying to hear musically where is she singing that makes it make sense musically, right? So I think, I'm a 80s baby. So, I started making beats in 2000, 2001, right when, you name it, all the, Timbaland, all the big hit makers were kind of playing in this arena. I think in the late 90s and early 2000s is where you heard a lot of, Eastern influence kind of like being used in hooks and stuff like that. That is exactly what I was getting inspired from right here. So I just wanted that to inspire the rest of the track. I'm going to solo just the drums here. So the drums aren't anything special. It's really just a halftime beat that's happening. And I'm going to zoom in really quick and let you know. Here we go. Here's the beat. Okay, so we got that. The snare is hitting on the third beat. Clap. And that's really where you have the halftime feel. So if you listen to a lot of Run the Jewels, they live and die by the halftime feel. This is the halftime feel right here. Clap. Clap. Okay. But in order to make it interesting, I actually recorded some tambourine. So I'm going to add the tambo in right now. Okay, I'm going to start the beat over to the top. Okay, the tambo is going to give you some of that swing. None of this is, all of the beat is completely quantized, so it's going to be snapped to a grid. It's not going to have that human feel at all. And when you add tambo, if you record it live, you automatically kind of are forcing the track to have a little bit more human feel to it. That means that it's not going to sound very, very robotic, right? Okay. The rest of the track, what I'm doing is I'm letting that vocal line basically play through, right? The other sample that I used is right here, and I'm going to go to it. Muted. Okay, and that's when the band comes in. The first hit of the band is basically this tuned way, way, way down. So I'm actually going to go and play exactly what that sample is. The sample is, here it is. dun, 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 the first beat, right? So instead it's way pitched down. And then I just did a quick line, and there it is. So I'm just doing basically an octave, a fifth, minor third, and the first note, right? Okay. That's the line. I actually mimicked that with the bass, and I picked up a bass guitar and actually played that together, and I'll just play those two lines together. So not much to that. It's basically just reinforcing kind of that like electronic sounding, you know, old school kind of like orchestra hit is basically what's going on. So it needed a little bit more. And what I did was I added just a little bit of like funkiness to keep that bounce going throughout the whole song. And you can hear that right here. So I'm just going to play the drums, the tambo, and the other element, which is basically just the synth brought in. Here it is. Okay, so that's really it. There is some other stuff that's going on with the synth. And if you email us at 3bl@3beatslater.com and you want to learn about what's happening with this synth and why it sounds bouncy, let me know and we'll give you an explainer. But we don't have enough time today. So I'm going to play a little bit of the beat. There's one last thing that's happening, which is the intro. And I'll just kind of play that together. There's a transition period going from the intro into the beat, and you'll hear it right here with the drums. I'm going to solo that. I'm going to solo what's happening with the vocals. Okay, so you'll hear one of those voices where she says like Dinye, I don't even know what that is. And that's going to go way down. It's pitched down. So I'm automating that to actually dive. And then I'm automating another one of the voices to actually go way up, just because it sounds like almost like a tape recorder going really, really fast forward. When you listen to the drums, this is like your cliche kind of like trap fill, whatever, but it's a little overdone. And I kind of did it on purpose just because I'm playing around with that to try to hear what sounds good. I'm just going to solo that. That sounds like trash, but it's a good transition to get into the song, right? If I had more time with this track, I would probably edit that to make that transition a little bit more tension building, slower, or I should say over a longer period of time, and then hitting the beat. So that's the beat. That's how I made the beat. And I'm gonna kick it over to the rest of the guys.
Yes, I'm next. So I like that. Nice little trick you did on the pad there. I like that. It's pretty dope.
All right,
so
thank you.
I'm going
Appreciate
to go.
That.
Here we are. This is, I rock out of Ableton. So regular laptop running Ableton. And so this is the track here. I'm going to play it through and then I'll do a breakdown of the track afterwards. So. So in this beat, I have the sample. You're talking my MIDI, so I can show you the sample. So I have the sample mapped out. I'm gonna play you the actual sample that I used as well. So right here we go here, and this is the actual track that was used for this sample. So.
Hey! ខ្មាស់គេអស់មួយកោលោកអើយពីតែឲ្យម៉ែក៏ទៅដណ្ដឹងមិនដឹងជាសង្សារខ្ញុំមកខ្ទើយសហេ
So as you see right where we are right now, the beat is made up of these pieces right here. So basically mapping this out on my board, then having that down here. And that's all parts of the beat are just mapped out. So I'm going through, I'm playing that basically. So with the drum, with the pattern for the drums, we are using play beat. And play beat is one of my favorite VSTs. It allows you to randomize parts of your beat, your actual drum pattern. So in play beat, we have flow on something like this. So take it back here and play beat. So it allows you to triple up, double up, or however many times you want one sound to hit. You can control the steps, the pitch, the volume, the pan, left to right. And so I like to let the hats kind of do their own thing. I only really control the kick and the snare on the on play beat, because I like the hats to do their own thing. So if you hear, the hats are kind of uncontrollable, but they keep the rhythm and they keep the rhythm chopped. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? I'm trying to keep it, as simple as possible for the hats on most beats. And then for the sample, you got this part that's chopped in. This is kind of the main part of the accent of the beat. So that comes in there, and then the main part of the beat is just right here. So you hear that rocking through the whole beat, and that's kind of where the beginning of the beat starts on their track. And all of the vocals I grabbed that you hear are all inside the track as well. So they're all. Next track is going to be Scalar. And I use Scalar for a lot of my keyboarding and any kind of playing I'm doing. But so for Scalar, I use that. A lot of times I play out my own sounds in Scalar. I just like the sound of Scalar. So I rock with Scalar because it has this soft keyboard. And you hear that, that's kind of like the sound of it right there. Real mellow, you don't really hear too much of anything. It's almost like a fantasy kind of piano. And I'll layer the keys over that as well with the chords. Just to give it a little bit of edge there. And then I took
those keys sound so nice.
So I love this sound that's in as it is in Scalar. I just love grabbing that keyboard and just playing on there. And then this is in Pigments. I kind of did a little bit of something with just a little random type of atmospheric type of sound on the pads.
And these are three different
chords.
Those are all different VSTs you loaded up into this one. Wow.
Yes, so these are all into Ableton. So this is Pigments, Scalar, and Playbeat. Playbeat is really the only one that I allowed to do its own thing. Everything else I controlled or played out myself. So, but yeah, that's the beat, and I'm gonna pass it over to P.
Yo, wait. Can you let that rock just one more time?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Nice.
It's on P.
Very nice, E. Very nice, E. Very impressed with both of you guys' musicality. You know, E, those chords, beautiful. I would love to even hear those soloed out for a little bit. And Corey, your track, that bass line and how you flip that sample, crazy, 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 crazy. So kudos to both you gentlemen. I'm very impressed with this week's additions. So here I go without further ado. I'm also working with Ableton as well. I'm gonna go ahead and just switch my camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Triggering all my keys right now with my APC. All right. So I'm gonna play the beat first and then we'll break it down later, okay? All right, here we go.
Wow.
Word.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's sick. That's sick.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, go ahead, break that beat down, dude, because I need to know. First of all, I need to know what you was doing with the board, and I want to know how you assigned everything.
Yo,
Okay.
you needed to get on that mic and just go, Suavecito! With like mad echo.
All right, so I'm gonna start off with the sample. This was a song by Ross Sarasoth, and the name of the song is Jas Bong Ju Am. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but you know, unfortunately, I don't speak the language. But it's definitely a cool song. Goes something like this. So it was a really great track. I really liked it.
Sweet.
So I try to find a part of it that I could really mess around with. So I ended up with this part. So here we are with the track. I pitch shifted it down a little bit. And it had all of these cool chords. As far as this type of music, there's so many opportunities to sample because there's so many cool things going on in every single song that I listen to. So I really just stuck with one song and found different sections of it. So yeah, I found this part. Because I don't really share a lot of the musicality that you guys have in terms of, you know, playing instruments and things like that. I wanted to break it into different sections. So essentially I tried to make it so that I did at least 3 different sections. So basically every 8 bars, you got a different idea. And I messed around with a whole bunch of different ideas until I got 3 ideas that I felt that progressed and kind of built tension as they move through. So the first idea was this one. Second idea was this one. And third idea was this one.
Yes.
And for the drums, lately I've been using a couple different things. I like this VST that I found. It's really simple. It's called Drum Pro 64. It's nothing, not much to it. It's really just a bunch of drum sounds, but the drum sounds are just like extra, like crispy. It just really, really slaps, as a young boy says nowadays. So I usually grab my kicks from this and my snares. Now, the only problem with Drum Pro is that you can't pitch shift within this. And I love pitch shift. I pitch shift all my drums. So I always have to combine it with another drum rack just to get all of the drum sounds that I want. So the other drums come from this channel here. And, you know, it's just your basic shaker. And I think I have a nice little bell sound in this one as well. Let me see. Nothing too crazy. I didn't go crazy with the drums. And then I just added a bass. And I actually added some other instruments to it, but because the sample was so crazy, I didn't, it clashed. The other sounds that I tried to add to it just felt really clashy. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make this a little bit more raw and just experiment more with the chops. And yeah, that's essentially what I did. Nothing too crazy. I mean, the main thing I always say is I gotta give props to an Ableton is the simpler. The simpler just chops up your track the way you want it, and it makes it easier for me to trigger. Oh yeah, one more thing. What I was doing with the keyboard. So here I have an APC 25. It's actually not even a newer MIDI. They have newer ones that are way cooler than this. But if you look up here, I applied this frequency shifter here to the sample. So if the sample is playing, right here, I can mess around with the frequency. And I just have that auto track had as much as I wanted. So I was just freaking out. And honestly, just to earn some cool points, I just wanted
And that's the frequency thing is you're trying to get into a specific frequency range, or like
so I mean that's what it's intended for, but what I use it as a live effect. So what happened was every time I got to the third section of this beat, right before it kind of transitioned to this kind of hook chorusy type of section, I would mess around with this knob just to lead into it, so you guys got an effect every time it switched over. But I practiced that before we did the beat, so that I knew when to put that filter in there. But it's completely automated.
Cheating already. Episode 1. And we're cheating.
It's completely automated. It's not live. It's completely live. So that's actually not in the beat. That sound is turned all the way down at 0% right here. So when the track is playing, I would just mess around with the knob just to get some cool sound.
And it would basically give you a little bit of like a woo, and then the next section.
Yeah, like it's just you know, like I think
I can hear it. Yeah. So you can you automate that at all? Do you know anything about?
You can automate it, and I think it's pretty easy to. I think there's 2 ways you can visually do it somehow, like just program it in the machine, or you can just record you doing it.
Oh, okay.
It'll just remember
and
it.
It will remember that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's then for when you use Simpler, are you and that's the chop is happening. You're going in after the chops, like it auto chops based upon whatever,
right?
Like either number of beats or time or whatever, and then you're going and you're saying, no, I want this.
Right.
So you're manually changing those chops.
So it's pretty good at finding chops itself. But what happens is, you know, you're always going to want to adjust them exactly the way you want them. So I'll make them longer. I'll make them shorter. I'll add a chop in between a chop. I'll do whatever I want until I get the perfect chop. And it's honestly, I love it because it makes the chopping part of making a beat sometimes can take time, or it was always been time consuming, and this takes that time completely out of it. Like I can literally have a track chopped up in 3 seconds. The only problem is it's making me so chop heavy now. Like I want to get back to, like, you know, composing more melodies, types of things. I'm just having a lot of fun with the chops because it's just fun.
Yeah, I find that as well happening to me with Ableton as well.
So yeah, I'm trying to be like E and get more into the musicality of it, and I want to get that Scalar app that he has or Scalar VST, simply because I'm not talented with piano playing. That thing can help me with some keys and melodies and things like that. So
I love the third idea in this song is like amazing to me. Can you let it rock again, and then we'll go into the judging section?
Sure.
Yes. It's such an easy idea, you know what I mean? But it's awesome just because it's like so much is happening right there. It's all kind of just like one and boom, bang, bang.
Yeah, that's what that marching band kind of like, you know. That's awesome. Yeah, I just, you know, like I said, just playing around with variety, just playing around with vibe. But you know, even as a rapper, I would even struggle rapping to this beat. My favorite rap beat right now tonight is yours beat, Corey, to rap to, because I started rapping in my head to your beat. And E, I was thinking of vocal melodies in yours. You like? But this beat is a cool beat to listen to, but it'd be tough to rap to. So you know, not all beats are meant. You know, it's not ideal songwriting beat, but it's a cool little track.
All right. Well, at least we know negative 15 points from all of that cheating going on. All right, let's go to the judging. All right. So I could start us off. So, all right, now we're in the judging part of the show. You heard the beats. What we want to do is essentially, you know, give each other props for what they liked about each other's music. So, all right. So first, I'm going to compliment. I'm just going to go through this list of compliments. I've been actually writing notes throughout this whole thing. So, two things that stood out to me that I loved about your beat. One A was your selection of the parts of the song to take and chop. And you know, the number one way to my heart is getting some sort of guitar sample in there. So the little that was sick. But then I think you doubled down. You didn't really talk about this in your beat, was the gargle sound that kind of matched that too. So like I heard like the guitar, which I could hear, and then I heard like this like what was going on there? Because there was like two different
renditions. I love those renditions.
There was like a gargle and then there's a guitar joint.
What I did was
it's a guitar.
There was a part of the sample that just had that in there. So it was like the remnants of that actual note, and I played that in the sample. Like as I was playing the keys, I played that over the sample to match the part.
Yeah, that was sick, and that's like the number one way to kind of get me excited. So that was pretty good. And then also I was learning a lot. So I like the usage of your VSTs. Like that's one thing that I need to start doing more is like just incorporating different VSTs on the iPad. And in Beatmaker 3 you can. One of the downfalls of the iPad that I have is I don't have the Pro, so I have less RAM. And what I have to do is I have to do VST, like one VST, play around and play the track and play on it, and then almost like take it out of that environment and kind of cut and paste it into the track. Then I have to, if I want to use another VST, I have to repeat that process. So I can't really, because I don't have an iPad Pro, I can't really use a lot in the app. So it's a little bit, that's like probably the one con right now is like the inability to kind of like have different things running at the same time, just because there's not a lot of RAM.
Yeah.
So that's one thing like you basically just wanted me to kind of start doing is like just exploring more VSTs. I do not mess with a lot of them. There's like two that I have on my thing. One's a synth. One's like kind of like this like something M gospel, I forgot, whatever. So it's like some like gospel musicians got together and they made this one pack or whatever, this VST, and it sounds amazing. So I just use those two right now. So that was, the beat was sick. I like those two parts of your beat. Piso, really like a lot of the Cambodian music, like you could actually hear like this like almost Santana influence. So there's like in some of the songs, they almost had like this like, you know, Latin rock style influence. Your song, in certain parts, you could almost hear it like it's like a boom, which is like a very like Latin style beat. But when you chopped it up, you completely flipped that on its head. And the third section for me, that boom, and just hearing those three different things throughout the beat was really cool to my ears. It made me pretty happy. It just was like, so it was just different. So, and again, your ear to chopping, making those chops, like picking what is going to sound good and actually having it fall into place was really good for me. So yeah, so that was sick. I really love, if it was up to just that one section, I would give the fire points to Piso, but turn of events here is I'm giving the fire points to E for the whole track. That was straight hip hop. That was sick.
Nice.
And I liked the guitar a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so nice. I guess I can go next. So something dope I liked about P's track was a very unique use of that sample. Like I was not expecting that to happen. When the beat broke down, I was not expecting that to take place at all, and it kind of took me to a whole different level as far as beat goes, as far as the beat goes. So the sample was cool, it was dope, and you know what I'm saying, dope energy. And all of a sudden, it just like slams you out of there. Like, okay, we're gonna take it to this place, and it's like any kind of break in a beat is for me is a dope thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And then when you take it there, almost creating a whole nother beat itself, was just like, yo, this is real dope. Corey, man, that usage of that vocal sample in the actual track was like magnificent. Like how it was very unique and very interesting how you flipped it, because you didn't really go with the sample itself. You know, you kind of went against the sample, but incorporated the sample in the track. So I love that, because I've been working on doing that a lot lately as well. But the fire beat, I have to give that to P, just because I kept rocking out on that joint at the end. So I got to give that to P.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate that greatly. I'm doing this cool. I'm a ghost right now, guys. So you know, I'm a ghost on the planet Mars. So just real quick, starting with Corey's beat, I loved when you broke it down. Not only do I love the bass line in it, obviously, I love when live bass is played with samples. Like, if I have my way, you're going to play all the bass lines on every beat that I make, because I just love live bass on samples. And the way you matched the, I don't know if it was a sample or a chord or something that you matched with that bass line was super cool. It sounded almost like you could have made a beat just off of that. And that sample that you meshed with the bass sound was my favorite part of the beat. But all the other effects that you added and the way you used the vocals, let me ask you, did you put a reverb or delay or something like that over like one of the samples?
The sample itself was kind of like really old and rustic sounding, so like you could tell that there was some natural sample in her voice for sure. And I added just a little hair of it extra. Like I wanted there to be a little bit delay, so I added a little delay. So when she says, like, even like the on the upbeat, there's just a little bit of delay, so like it'll help it kind of blend into the rest of the track. And then and to your point about the bass, I was trying to match what I just kind of heard in my head when I played that out first, just chop wise. So I played what I heard or what I was sequenced on the bass, and that was really tough to try to sync those up because the sample isn't necessarily in tune. So when you hear it, there's a lot of dissonance. It kind of sounds like really like weird. So I had to try to find it on the bass. It's not perfectly in tune, the bass guitar versus that sample, but it's close enough.
All right, nice. Yeah, I dug that a lot, and I just think everything worked well on that beat. And also, I thought that what do you call it? The double time feel that you did,
halftime,
and the halftime shuffle that you say RTJ uses. I think
all
that
over their stuff.
I think that's really, really, really cool, and that really made me want to write a song to that beat. So that was really dope.
Awesome, I appreciate that.
Yes, your beat, yo. I loved it as well. My favorite thing, obviously, about your beats a lot of times is the melodies. You always come up with melodies that I just wouldn't expect, and I feel like even though you had your sample in there, the way you put those chords and everything else in the track just really, really spoke to me. The beat, the drum machine that you use called the beat. What is it called again? I forget. Playbeat, yes. Playbeat is interesting. I do like the fact that you let the hi-hats just do whatever they wanted. The more I see you use those VSTs, the cooler they seem, just because it seems like they have a lot of versatility. And the way you're able to master the VSTs is really impressive. You're using like 3 or 4 or 5 per track now, so that's pretty dope. That beat has a lot of places where it could break down, and change up and switch. So I honestly, I know this is going to sound really corny, but I actually like both of your beats equally. I'm really struggling with figuring out who I want to give my points to. But I'm going to land on Corey only because I feel like I could write to Corey's just a little bit easier than E's. And that's just my own subjective writing. Right. I like to write to certain things, but I really didn't know which beat I liked more, but I just had to go with Corey's just because if I had to write to one, I would lean towards his. So good job, both of you guys. You guys did a great job.
All right.
Very dope.
It's so funny because this is the first episode and we were just talking about how long it would take before we get a tie. And we got a tie. There we go. Episode 1, tie number 1.
Oh, right. Oh, crap. I didn't even realize. I didn't even consciously realize I was causing
Everybody got a fire beat. So as we go along, you know what I mean? Everybody, you know, we're going to get more categories. We're to try to make this a little bit more competitive too. You may see our true competitive nature come out when we start shit talking. It's going to be fun. So, all right. So we're going to wrap this up. Just want to let you know, you could check us out online. And you can actually hit us up, send us a quick email if you'd like the show. You can email us at 3bl@3beatslater.com. You can check us out on Twitter and Instagram. You could be one of our first followers because we just launched all this stuff. So we're going from 0. We're going to see how far we get to 1 million followers. All right. So now it's time we have to choose the next challenge. And on my whatever side this is, my left or right, whatever, here's a list. So these are all the things that we're going to try to get through over the next 12 weeks. We're going to add a new category as we knock one off. So I'm going to open my screen. We're going to use a random number generator. We're going to match it up against this list, and that will be our challenge. We have 7 days to write a beat, and then we're going to go through this again. You're going to hear 3 beats, and then someone, hopefully one of these times, will become the winner. But here we go. Let me share my screen, and I won't cheat. So I'm going to press this number generator about 3 times first, just so you guys could see that it's actually real. Here it is, random.org. So I'm pressing it. It just showed a 4. Press it again. It just showed a 3 and a 1. Okay, so here we go. You ready? This is the challenge. Press it again. 5.
5. What's 5?
Oh, what is 5? I think it's one of these. Here we go. Okay, so 5 is, if you could read it, it says, pick something. Pick a sample. Pick
Each choice. It's each
artist
choice.
to sample. It's each choice.
Yeah, pick an artist to sample. So the artist I picked for us to sample for next challenge is going to be, make it interesting. You know what? I'll go with something simple, but also difficult. I will say we're going to sample Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston.
Wow. Whitney Houston.
Yes, sir.
That is an interesting pick. Okay.
My wife is gonna love this week because she loves Whitney. So
who doesn't love Whitney?
It's gonna be a lot of Whitney music this week.
Right.
Okay, cool. So you can check us out next week. We're gonna drop another video. We're also gonna drop how we made each one of the beats to your YouTube channel. Make sure do all those fun things, subscribe, like, all that stuff, tell a friend, and email us if you want to learn a little bit more about how we made these beats. So everybody, signing off.
All right.
3 beats later.
3 years later.
3 weeks later.
All right. Peace.